what do you know what he say? This is Wild Phil with Wild Phil's Osophy. This is part 2 of my Mafia stories. So today, like I said in the past video, I'm going to give you a first-hand experience story that I had face-to-face with the Mafia in my neighborhood. So let's get right to it. So, like I mentioned in my previous video, I grew up in Northwest Chicago, which a lot of the old mob guys, a lot of the old Mafia had a lot of activity going on there. And this happened around, I would say, either 2008 or 2009. What happened is I had quick disclaimer, I'm not going to give the exact names for obvious reasons, because I'm not looking to get a new set of cement shoes or sleep with the fishes, see. So I'm not going to give you exactly what I know, but I hope you enjoy it. So let's get right to it. I had a friend of mine who, we'll call him C. So C and I, we used to hang out all the time. We'd go to punk shows. We'd go fucking crazy ass parties, and we hung out a lot. It was that period of time where it's like, we really don't know what we want to do for the rest of our lives, but we may as we instead of fucking drowning our tears, we may as well go party and do crazy shit. And so during that time, C and we did a lot of fucking different odd jobs. I mean, I can make a whole video based on like the 20 different places I've worked my entire life. So C was in the same boat. C, he had his dad had died recently, and his family was they were Cuban immigrants. They were having a hard time, staying above water because of the death as well. So he got a job in Melrose Park, which was also part of the Northwest Side. Like it was a Northwest Chicago suburb with a lot of Mafia activity. That's where one of the only horse race parks was in Chicago. The other one was in Arlington Heights, but where Sebastian Maniscalco's from. But yeah, for a lot of people that know Melrose Park, they always think of either Kittyland, which is like a small version of Six Flags for us, and the horse race park. So he was working. So C was working at a brand new, real sketchy go-kart place. And I say real sketchy because there was this industrial area in Melrose Park with like where they just there were these buildings that were always said for lease, but they never seemed to be like nobody leased them, nobody wanted them. And I later found out it was because they left them for mob only businesses. So he started working at this go-kart place, and I had never seen a place like this before in my life, because I went there a few times to pick him up, and they would let me race for free, and these fucking go-karts would go like up to 60 miles an hour. It was crazy. There was no like waivers that you needed to sign. They only took cash. It was a little bit crazy. And so my friend C, he would work on these fucking cars. He would tune them up, and obviously a lot of them got, people crashed in them, so he had to fix them up. So one day, it's like around a little past noon on a summer day, I'm like, dude, let's get out of here. Let's go to a fucking show. Let's get fucked up. He's like, yeah, man, just pick me up around 2:00 at this go-kart place. I'm like, all right. So I show up at 2:00, and actually I showed up around like 2:30. So. And I'm like, so you ready to go? He's like, nah, man, I gotta get my check, dude. I can't do anything. I can't get fucked up unless I get my check. I'm like, get your check. If you're getting a check, then I mean, it should be like direct deposit, right? He's like, no. These guys only pay cash. And side tangent that I want to go on. The people who own the place, like I said, I'm going to change up the names. Let's call them Antonio and Giovanni, right? So these brothers, Antonio and Giovanni, own this fucking go-kart place. And sure enough, what I noticed too, I never even noticed it until he told me, how much mob influence? Okay, the entire, like, for a 5 mile radius neighborhood of everywhere I lived, everywhere you parked, it said A&G Towing. And it never occurred to me. I'm like, oh, Antonio and Giovanni towing, because they fucking owned all these businesses in these areas. So back to the story. So I'm waiting. I'm like, dude, how much longer is this gonna take? It's fucking 3 o'clock. I've been waiting here for like almost an hour. He's like, dude, don't worry, don't. They're probably gonna give me like an extra $100. I'm like, all right, whatever. So we're just chilling there, and C sees that I'm getting like impatient. So he's like, you know what, dude, you wanna see this cool fucking store? And I'm like, sure, whatever. I'll do anything other than wait here. And he goes, all right, let's, trust me, it'll be funny. We go across the street, and remember how I said it was a sketchy industrial area? Across the street was this little building that was an industrial building that was also taken. It wasn't for lease. It was called, I think it was something called like Super Adult World. I don't even remember the right name, so I'm glad because I don't have to use the exact name. And we go, and I'm like, dude, come on, it's a fucking porn shop. Like, this is fucking scummy. I don't want to be walking all over jizz and running into some fucking, perverted fucking in his 60s with some Coke bottle lenses, just with sticky hands and hairy palms. This is ridiculous. This is not me. Like, it's ridiculous. He's like, no, dude, it'll be cool. Don't worry. So we go in there, and sure enough, I started realizing things were a little weird because the lady that greeted us at the cashier was this old, like 60-year-old Italian lady with those fucking like old ass like librarian glasses where they're hanging off the tip of your nose, and they got a long ass chain with like a rosary on it or some shit. And she's like, "Oh, how you doing?" And we're like, "Oh, we're fine, And then we're walking around and we're just laughing at everything. We're like, "Oh, look, it's a double dildo, Saving Ryan's Privates, ha ha ha!" Like we're laughing at all these fucking titles. And then my buddy, he goes, "Hold on, Phil, watch this." And she goes, "Hey, so is there anything else we can partake in?" To the old lady. She's like, "I don't know what do you mean?" He goes, "Well, Antonio and Giovanni sent us over here." He's like, "Oh, really? Antonio and Giovanni?" He's like, "Yeah, I work for him. He's across the street." He's like, "Oh, okay." Now, when we walked into this store, right when you walk in, there's just this little fucking desk, almost like if you put three podiums together with one cash register, and then this long wall, like 30 yards of DVDs on the wall. And as soon as she said, "Oh, Antonio and Giovanni," she pressed some button in the wall, and the entire wall was on a rail. I was on a fucking rail. She pulls this fake ass wall open, like 20 feet, has us walk in. First stop is a sauna. There's a fat fucking mob guy with gray hair, slicked back. He looks like a goddamn boiled sausage because he's so fucking fat and sweaty, getting a blowjob in the sauna. And so, you try and not, even if it wasn't a mob guy, you don't want to make eye contact while that's happening. So we keep walking. Then there's a whole bunch of cubicles, about 5 of them, with, little windows and holes in the wall. You know what I'm saying? Glory holes. And then she goes, "Oh, and this is another part that we love a lot. If you're not into like that much contact, or if you are, you can go here." And we go to the last stop, and the last stop is a theater. It's the kind of theater that like is set up in like a old fucking public school, where there's just a shit ton of folding chairs, and there's a really like old school projector with the huge fucking reels on it. And they're playing porn, and there's a guy fucking 2 prostitutes in the middle of this fucking theater. And we're like, "Oh wow, that's awesome." She's like, "Yeah, so if you got any extra money and you want to have some fun, just let us know. Just keep it on the quiet side." And then I look at my buddy, and he's just like, "What I fucking tell you, ain't that cool?" And I was like, "Dude, I want to get the fuck out of here. I want to get the hell out. This is so weird." So we got the hell out of there, and Just like to all my fucking great stories is an epic ending, right? 2 weeks later, this fucking place got busted on the news. And I think they actually, this part I don't know for sure. I thought that they got the Melrose Park mayor on a hidden camera getting a blowjob, but I think it was another mob guy. But they definitely got a hidden camera footage of this fucking guy getting his dick sucked. And if you don't believe me and you want to check into it, search on YouTube right now. The title is Porn Bookstore Doubles as Sex Club and It Is Legal. Look that up. Porn bookstore doubles as sex club and it is legal. So, anyways, that's like the closest thing I've ever seen to the mafia. I mean, it. I guess. Well, the other thing too that was, we went back to the go-kart place and he had like a stack of fucking the biggest stack of money I've ever seen in real life. Even I haven't even seen people carry that much cash in a bank out in public. And that's when my buddy got paid from this yellow envelope from the brothers. So anyways, that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace be with you, my friends.